with us all through February during our financial February. It was awesome. It was awesome. And I know you all gained a lot, as we all did too. And to crown that off, Mr. Sunak has made those of us in business very happy people today. Don't worry about paying back later, but the announcements today, I hope all of you will, look at it, understand it, and take as much advantage of it as you possibly can, because we all need a little bit of a pep up after the COVID issue. So Saffron Sekat just wants to wish each and every business person in the UK, as much, blessings as possible. Go out there and get what you rightly deserve. Okay. All right. So going forward now, we shall be discussing for the whole of March. We are going to be talking about March for Abilities in Disabilities, the positive interventions and life of people living with disabilities, living with disabilities generally. Okay, so that is what our March edition is going to be about. So please stay with us. I'm so sorry about that. So please stay with us through March as we talk about positive interventions this week and lives of people living with disabilities. We have 3 special guests that will be coming on throughout March, but today we have 2 of them who are already present. And I shall be handing over for them to be introduced shortly. But before I do, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Giz Ojiako, and I am the Director for Programs for Saffron Sekat. And with me, I have 2 of my colleagues, my soldiers. Marcia, would you like to unmute and introduce yourself, please?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I can see we have some new faces tonight, or some new names. Yeah. My name is Marcia Eliza, and I'm the Director responsible for youth engagement and intervention and life coaching. Welcome, and I hope you enjoy tonight.
Thank you, Marcia. And we go straight to our dependable as ever, Sister Yemi. Would you like to unmute, please, and introduce yourself? Go ahead. Okay, sorry, Yem, if you can hear me, you haven't switched over, so we can't hear you. Sorry. That's okay.
Hey, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Awesome. Technical director and all as well. Oh, hello, good evening, everyone, and welcome. It's March. Happy March. We're all marching on to great things in this month. And one of them is that we're matching abilities and looking at abilities in disabilities. We all need to remain absolutely positive in everything that we do. We actually, more so now that we've all had to experience such a wonderful year that's gone past, and we're still running in it. So we just want to welcome everyone, all the pretty, lovely faces on today. I'm just seeing beautiful people. As always, I'm going to be your hostess live on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, communicate with me. I will be forwarding all your questions, your comments, information straight to the host, who is Giz for this evening, and many more to come. So yes, I would also take the liberty to introduce our special guest. Can I do that, Giz, so that you don't have to come back to me?
Thank you.
Okay. As you know, we have our family member, because she's not a special guest, but she is a special guest today, and that is Grace Alexander. She is the international, international achiever, and all things issues around disabilities. She is a foreknown name on matters that regard children and adults with disabilities. Her NGO in Nigeria, Star Children Initiative, does great things. We have been fortunate to have, attended and worked with her a couple of times, and we're looking towards doing so much more ahead. So, Auntie Grace, you are very welcome. Um, just unmute and just say hello to us. One second.
Hello, everyone. Yes, my name is Mrs. Grace Alexander. I'm the CEO of Start Children Development Initiative. We are international. We are not-for-profit international network that promotes equality, diversity, and social justice for persons living with disability. And our clients, our service users are children, their parents, youth, and women. So, and our thematic areas are more of promoting inclusive education, promoting inclusive health, accessibility to health for persons with disability, and again, safety, welfare, and we are also against sexual-based violence experienced by persons, especially by women with disabilities. So okay. we are compassionate advocates regarding disability, and we do this anywhere around the world, in Nigeria, in UK, and in Africa, and the rest part of the world. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Auntie Grace. Good evening, Mrs. Olajumoke Otitoloju. We welcome you. She's doing awesome, great things. She has her NGO as well in Nigeria, and there was no way we would talk about anyone working with disabilities in Nigeria without bringing you on. I will say that we have followed you for quite a while and been seeing all the wonderful things you're doing. So you're welcome onto our platform. We would love to hear from you. Introduce yourself before we carry on with the program. Go on, sis. Mrs. Otitoloju, please feel free. Looks like the screen's frozen. Okay. Yeah. All right. You come back to her. Okay, so Giz, over to you, darling.
Thank you so much. Please do bear with us because some of our guests.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Olajumoke Matilda Otitoloju. I'm the project coordinator. Yes.
Okay. We seem to be having some technical issues because of the distance. Okay, I think what we'll do is we will come back. We'll come back later for her to introduce herself. We are so sorry about that, but it's technology, and that's out of our hands, So that is our guest, and we will definitely be coming back to our special guest. So without much ado, we want to talk about disability today and how the abilities in disability. Now, disability, for those of you who are not aware, these are just a few statistics which states that under the Equality Act 2010, you are considered disabled if you have a physical or mental impairment which affects you from carrying out normal everyday to-day activities. Okay. Now it will shock many of you, but in the UK today, 7.7 million people of working age, and that is between the ages of 16 and 64, which is prior to a retirement age, are reported to be disabled. That is 7.7 million. So that's like 19% of the working population have been reported to be disabled. So they have been registered, that's the right way to put it, under the Disability Act. And that is up from 52.6 a year ago. Now, this I've sourced from the UK government website, which gives us all this information. And based on those statistics, how are these people living? How are they able to live a what we call normal life? And what do we mean by normal life? You know, when you go to a supermarket, can they walk into a supermarket or go into a supermarket with their aids? And when I say aids, I've got a healthcare background. So my service users who use aids, Zimmer frames, wheelchairs, walking sticks. You know, if you are physically impaired, you use a white stick. Is the environment set up in such a way that these people can access every day-to-day facilities like myself and yourself? Yeah. And some of these things are what we will be looking at through the whole of March. Yeah. And this is why what we have done is we've called upon people who live this on a day-to-day basis. In Saffron, what we like to do, we like to hear from people who live these, you know, situations, because there's that saying, you know, it's always, what is it, from the horse's mouth? You know, it's always good to get your experience from people who have actually lived it, who live it daily, and to see what it is to walk a day in their shoes. Okay. So without much ado, I would like to firstly hand over to Auntie Grace.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think I had what she has said.
Yeah.
So can I continue?
Please
yes.
do, yes.
Okay, yes. Okay, I'm a mother of a young man. The young man is 26 that lives with disability, and he's got global developmental delay caused by epilepsy. So I'm going to speak from three perspectives. One, as a mother. Two, as a professional, because I trained as a social worker as well. Then thirdly, as a CEO running an international organization that advocates for improved life chances for persons with disability. So I will say that, what is disability? People, there's so many school of thoughts. Some people might think it in terms of impairment, limitations. Do we consider environmental factors? Because environmental factors like culture, like beliefs concerning disability can actually disable somebody. So, and that affects the way, that's where the stigma, the myths, the taboos come from. And one of the things is our health issues. What is actually the impairment? Like my son is epileptic. You understand that caused having global developmental delay. That's the diagnosis. And so what is disability? So we have to consider some of these factors, the limitation, your daily functioning, everything we have to consider. So what is actually disability? Disability, the one school of thought from WHO said disability is the lack of interaction between the impairment and the environment. So the impairment does not necessarily make you disabled if you have what we call reasonable adjustment or assimilations that can make you do exactly, live, function as other human beings, you understand, that are not disabled. So if there is lack of interaction, then you are effectively disabled. I will use my own as an example, or Yemi as an example. Without your glasses, you cannot see. So you are effectively disabled because you might have high, what do they call it? High or low vision or whatever. Then if you are not using a reasonable adjustment, which is your glasses, you're effectively disabled. But with your glasses, are you disabled? No. Mm-hmm. So the impairments do not necessarily mean you are disabled if you are not provided with the reasonable adjustment, which means like people that are even blind now. We have blind people that cook. We have people that need things. because they are being provided with the reasonable adjustment that can enable them to function. We even have one in Nigeria that is doing weightlifting, and she's blind. She's one of the people in my forum. So the disability is actually caused by the lack of interaction between the impairment and your environment. So, and how you perceive your environment can actually disable you and can lead to a lot of behavioral health and can lead to mental health issues as well. In the sense that the stigma can affect you. You might actually internalize disability. And I will use myself as a case study. Like when my son was not born with disability, but when he was 7, he started having epilepsy, which initially was not affecting his development, but later it affected his development to the extent that there were a lot of issues with regards to cognition, with regards to mobility, with regards to a lot of things. And one of the things is that when you have that, you tend to internalize it. Coming from Nigeria, as an African and a Nigerian, coming from Nigeria, and I realized that I've actually internalized, what will people say? And that's why some people maintain the culture of silence, especially in our Black ethnic minority, is the fact that you don't want to speak out. Then culture, how do the people as Christians or Muslim, how do you see disability? They see it as a form of taboo. Oh, probably your parents have seen sometimes, probably you've done something in, all those things. Those are environmental factors that can affect, instead of concentrating on, instead of accepting that there are some problems here. What are we going to do about it? We tend to concentrate more on the environmental factor. We tend to concentrate on what the child or the adult cannot do, instead of finding out what best, applying what we call strength-based focus, that what best can, but it is a process for anybody. And one thing is that disability is evolving. Is an evolving concept. And disability is a wide spectrum, because there are some disabilities that cannot be seen, that can only manifest in behavior. So we have to actually see, because at the end of the day, anything can happen. Disability can be acquired in your old age. Disability can be acquired when you are a youth. Disability can be acquired at any time. But what makes the person really, really disabled is the fact that the person does not have support, lack of information, lack of resources that can enable you to function like any other human being that is not living with disability. So we have to really understand the concept of disability, which is really wide. And how do we view disability? And obviously, the stigma can disable anybody. How do people see it? Then the fear of the unknown. How is this child going to get married? Is this child going to be able to do? Oh, what about my caring responsibility that can actually disable you as a mother, or disable the person? The lack of unemployment, lack of resources to make you function as other human beings can. And one thing is that our mindset plays a huge role. What do we view? Because things change. Look at COVID. COVID has changed everything. And it's about whatever changes you have in your life, it's about thinking about what next. It's about thinking about what you can do to improve your lives. And people I've seen amazing people. I've seen one woman, actually, the woman has passed on now, recently last year. The woman was an author of Wheels on something, on Wheels on Wheels. The woman had, at the age of 30, the woman had a terrible accident. She was the only survivor in the car. And for 35 years, the woman was able to empower, was able to make something out of her life, you understand? And one of the things I will encourage anybody is, it's a process. Like I said, you have to go through the process of loss. But at the end of the day, one thing you have to bear in mind is that there is a bigger picture. there is a bigger picture in this. And I will say that I would say the best thing that has happened to me is actually having my son. I've always been saying that. And it has brought, I thought I've lost so much, but I've gained a lot. So sometimes, how do we view whatever adversity we have in life? How do we view it? So disability, here we still have a lot of support in England. Thank God for England. I usually say that, where you can speak out, where there are policies that you can quote, but it doesn't mean that we are not fighting. And actually with the COVID thing, they've not really done much at that time last year, maybe because it caught everybody unawares. They've really not really done much when it comes to the lack of services can actually disable any parent, or people that are newly diagnosed as being living with disability, or the lack of health, the health services has been stretched. So the fact that they don't know how to cope. So, but at the end of the day, I will say that connect with someone, don't be alone, because disability itself can affect your thoughts, can affect the way you behave, can affect your mind, and can also result in mental health. It can result in mental disability, where your behavior starts becoming, maybe you are paranoid, maybe you have panic attack, maybe you start exhibiting some behaviors that can actually affect your responsibility as a human being, your daily functioning. So it's not only this disability, there are so many factors that can affect. Either they are not being listened to, or probably you've internalized that disability in your mind, that you are not looking for, or you are not even getting help, or you are not getting enough information, like in other developing countries like Nigeria, where there's not so many resources that can enable you to function, where you can get help. So that's what I would say.
Wow, thank you so much for that. I mean, that was quite you've opened your world and let us come in, so thank you for that. I think what really touched me was when you said, with your son, you gained, because I know, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there are some people who feel a sense of loss with disability, right? And I think the idea is, hopefully anybody listening to your testimony will walk away today feeling, that it's not all lost. I did want to ask one question, because obviously we will be speaking to the other guests, but just to get some clarity, you're based in the UK, so obviously you have connections with the UK resources around disability. Can you talk to us about some of those resources, what is out there for people, just in case they don't know, because obviously we always like to educate. So
one of the things is that the resources that are available with COVID, those resources are stretched because it requires funding. But having said that, at this time, you need to connect with, it's good to connect with people that matters, especially when it comes to how you are coping. Your coping mechanism must be, how do you relate to people, how do you find out what are things that can really support you and help you in this situation? Obviously, naturally, you feel a sense of loss. You feel a sense of loss. Life is hard enough. Then something just changed. So, and instead of immersing yourself in that problem, start finding out what next. What next is to accept the fact that there is a problem. It is not about that I reject it in Jesus' name. That's not, it is not that, no, it is not my portion. No, there is a problem. Acknowledge that you have a problem here. There is a challenge here. You understand? Because that's part of accepting the fact that there are challenges. And obviously, as a mother, or if you are married, you can acquire. I've seen people that they are married after 2 years of maybe the 2 legs are amputated. Maybe they just started having some problems, and that affected the family dynamics, like the marriage broke down or whatever. But most importantly, you cannot dwell on that for too long, because it starts affecting your overall well-being. It starts occupying your mind. So what you need to do is to connect with people that can support you. And you have to be discerning about that. One, you have to connect, look at your family, who can help you. Then two, look at your friends, who can help you. Then professionals, you need to speak out that this is what you are. I'm not saying you should go and ringing bells or talk to everybody, but you can say, this is what you are going through. And for you to actually mention to someone that you are going through this, it's a process of healing. It's a process that you are doing something about it. So some of the thing is to connect with somebody, call the social, whatever, wherever, whichever borough you are living in, call the borough, there is a duty, somebody, even with the pandemic, there is a duty officer, duty social worker, who would say, you have a problem. This is the problem. And you are having challenges. Or go to your GP. The GP can do a referral, can refer you to a doctor, to specialists. Everybody must have registered with a GP who can now connect. The first point of call is your GP. Even haven't discussed with your whatever. And then part of it is that, of course, it can be so overwhelming with seeking this help, seeking that help. It can be overwhelming. But one thing is that a step at a time, take a step. And if you need to talk to someone at that point in time, you find it overwhelming, call a friend. And one thing is that you are not alone. People are going through different sorts of challenges. There are some parents out there and different network who can now tell you what you need to do. A parent that has gone through what you've gone through, you can get the number from anybody or from any friend who can have connection. So it's about networking too, that this is what I'm going through. Recently, somebody called me from Mexico. She had my name. I was able to talk to her, and she came to our wherever, and she has been so, so, so grateful. And part of it is that if you don't isolate yourself, because the fact that one thing is that when you have a child with disability, there is a heightened risk that you will face social isolation and socio-economic isolation, because your income will be affected. Because part of it is that, how are you going to look after this child? Yes. How are you going to make sure that this child, you have the capacity to actually care for your child? So it's about, you start thinking about changing career, or what career can you do to accommodate your caring responsibilities. That is key. Because, or else you start feeling guilty because you are neglecting that child. So look for support. There is support out there, although it takes a longer time in this season we are, because of COVID. But be patient. Be patient. For instance, I've had issues where I have to call a physiotherapist or whatever, and it took them a week. Even changing my son's toilet seat, it took them a month to come and change it. But just ask for that help. Don't be frustrated. There are times you feel frustrated because of the fact that the time, but because the system is really overstretched, the health system is overstretched. So you need to thank God that you have places where you can go to, and then you can Google in your borough, who is the social, you can get information on Google. When you Google it, you can get information about social services and tell them, and they'll be able to signpost you. But don't be frustrated. Like I mentioned, the services are overstretched, and especially for new persons who are facing a lot of issues about their children. They are not getting that services. Don't stop. God will continue to give you that strength, to renew your strength, to be able to fight the cause in the best interest of your child and in your own best interest, as a carer, the primary carer. Okay. But you can talk to someone, and then make sure you guide your mind, because the services out there can be frustrating. Yeah. So like I said, don't get frustrated. Do what you need to do. And for me, what works for me, I'm not preaching to anybody, that I pray for that services to come early, for that service, for what I'm looking for to come early, I can only pray to intercede for efficient and quick services. So there are services out there. So don't sit and start dwelling on dwelling on spilled milk. Make sure you get out there and speak out. Don't suffer alone. Don't be alone. You need to connect. When you connect, when you guide your mind, you start finding meaning to your life and meaning to the wife of your children, of your child. So, and if you're an adult, there are services out there. Ask. You are not the only person that is having that issue. And if you think your mind is going haywire, your mind is getting, talk to someone.
Okay. At this juncture, we're going to just take some questions for you, Auntie Grace. And I would like to, for those of you who this is your first time on our voiceover, just to let you know, it's a very open forum. So please feel free. I do appreciate many of you have been dropping some statements in the chat, and that's amazing. But please feel free to raise your hand and the floor will be given to you, okay? At this point, I should be calling on Fadeshola Adelani. So if you would like to unmute yourself, please. Are you there, Fadeshola? Yeah, okay. Oh, let's see. Can you, yeah, you can unmute yourself and. Okay, go. Yes. Are you there, Fadeshola? Your hand is up. I think they have a question. Okay.
Maybe there's a problem with the
network. Maybe I think, yeah, her hand has been up for quite a while.
She's one of my directors. She's joining from Nigeria.
There you go. There you go. So it's all dear. It's probably connection, and we will come back to her because her hand.
Yeah. So next question.
That's fine. So anybody else that has a question, you know, you do not have to personalize it. You can generalize it. Auntie Grace will answer you. If there's anything that you might be, you know, struggling with, or not necessarily struggling with, you just want some information, please feel free to raise your hand and ask those questions. And please be rest assured that Auntie Grace is both in the UK, but she's also has a lot of information about Nigeria too. Is that right, Auntie Grace? So you can help with both, but Auntie Grace is actually based within the United Kingdom. Yes? Okay, so if you have any questions, like I said, please feel free to raise your hand and I will come to you and we will take your questions from, yeah, okay. Let's have a look, let's see who's, okay, so yes, Fadeshola said, ask for help, don't be frustrated. Vicky Roberts said to join a support network. Fadeshola again said, guide your mind, that is key. As these are what has been dropped in the chat, and I think it's because of the network. Yeah, so a lot of people are basically agreeing with what you're saying, Auntie Grace. So if, like I said, if there's any other questions, please feel free. I'm just going to check if we have any from Facebook. And if not, then we will have to call on Mrs. Jumoke Otitoloju. Are you there? Are you able to take the floor now?
Somebody is raising hand here. Blessing is raising her hand.
Oh, Blessing. Yeah. Okay, let me ask Blessing to unmute while our second guest is getting ready to take the floor. Okay, go ahead, Blessing.
Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah. I really need to give Mommy accolades for the teaching. It was really awesome. Mom, you did very well. You know, I still talk from the perspective of Nigerians and the way we say special needs cases as parents.
Yeah.
Over here, most cases in Nigeria here is that the parents of these special needs children or disabled children, in one way or the other, do not accept the fact that they have these children. And most of them, if peradventure they do accept, they hide them in their share of discrimination. So please, what you would do, yes, I know enlightenment in the communities can help, but what about some parents that are so mean that they don't even want you to come close to them to tell them about it. So please, how do we just, how can we handle situations like this? Because it really pains me seeing such things happening over here. So that is where my question is going to. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Blessing. Yes, we especially in developing countries, even here, we still have a lot to do. We have to keep the conversation going. That's why I like the Saffron Safeguard for doing what they're doing, because it's about safeguarding our mental health, safeguarding a lot of abuses, you know, by raising awareness about this month. And one of the things we can do, especially people from the rural areas, I mentioned that environmental factors too can disable anybody. So disability does not mean the impairments, because once you are getting support and you have reasonable adjustment, and you are able to focus on person-centered or strength-based focus, then you are not actually disabled. You understand? Because everybody is unique. We are all wonderfully and fearfully created. But there are some people in developing countries, or even the Bami community here, who are still internalizing disability, thinking, oh, I reject it. Instead of focusing on that child, focusing on the support, or even an adult focusing on that support, they concentrate on the problem. So we have to keep the conversation going. We are doing something in Imo State sometimes next month, where we want to because some of them are affected, are disabled by the cultural environment they are. And obviously, and I pity the woman, because the woman is torn between the environment and between her love for her child. And that can create a kind of what I call a lot of behavioral health issues and mental health issues, which are like, you know, when you are raising a child with disability, one cannot underestimate when you feel tired, when you are physically down, when you are, you know, when you are agitated, there's this kind of irritability, and then you are torn. Or when your husband is asking you, maybe the husband is the one that has internalized the disability thing. Then the husband starts saying, you know, you better wear. I've had cases in Nigeria where they say, you better know where you are going to take this child. It has broken so many homes. So one of the things is to actually doing awareness, continuous awareness, where we have a parents forum in Oyo State, and those parents, most of them are single parents, and they are flourishing now. It's not easy, but they are flourishing. The way they see their children are much better. The way they perceive their children are much better. They can be able to concentrate, and they can realize that every child is a blessing. So we are taking this up, and that's why partnership is key. That's why we can't keep quiet to support those parents who are still blind to the reality of things, to know that these children are also human beings. These children are not causes. It is not your sin. It is not that you've sinned or your generation has sinned. That's why you are having a child with disability. So it's about changing the narratives through advocacy, changing through that awareness, changing the narrative, changing the way they view their mindset. Mind is key to all this. Mind is really key. So, Blessing, thank you for raising that point, and we can only do what we can do.
Thank you so much, Auntie Grace.
Thank you so much.
Wow. You know, when you start to talk, let me just get down to the basics. When Auntie Grace starts to talk, your ears just have to be extra widely open, because she throws so many nuggets that you have to start, you know, filing things down. I know Giz is always writing, so I will come back to you, to your notes. But yes, it will also be good to just go back and listen to to everything that she has to say. But she has a lot. Yes, I will. Hold on 2 seconds. I'm going to be calling on Mrs. Olajumoke Otitoloju right after Melissa. Pamela, please unmute yourself, and then I'm coming to Mrs. Otitoloju. Melissa, please unmute yourself.
Can I go on?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry,
Hi, good
Melissa.
evening. How are you?
Hi, Melissa. We're hearing you.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
can
hi.
hear you.
Yes, I'm sorry I'm not able to appear on the video at the moment. Hi, I'm a friend of Grace, and I know she invited me to this program. I'm also based in the UK, and I'm a mother of a child with special needs. He's about 20 now. So well done, Grace. Always a woman of wisdom and encouragement. I just wanted to quickly add to what Grace was saying in terms of, the lady who is, sound a little bit despondent about, the way parents are treating their special needs children. I know sometimes we want to, for somebody like that, you want to actually take the parents by the hand or by the neck, and shake them off and say, you know what, this is a person, this is a child, this is a human being, and also deserve care, deserve love, and deserve to be treated as a human being. Because the problem with us Black ethnic minority, not only in Nigeria, even in the Western world, though it's worse over there, is that we see these individuals, as problems, as demonic people who are possessed, who demons have been possessed, and whatever, their disability is contagious. And hence the reason why, they've applied so much shame and stigma and placed this huge barrier, in this area of mental health, disability, special needs. And one of them, these are the reasons why a lot of parents are not coming forward, in terms of open up and say, yes, they acknowledge that they have a child with disability. What happened, unfortunately, these children suffer a lot. The parents do suffer, but the children do suffer because they're hidden from sight. They don't get the actual support. They don't get the care that they need. And therefore, they are deprived, from accessing healthcare and support. So all I want to add to that is that, as Grace said, we are the voices of these guys. We are their advocates. We are their second voice. So we need to just continue to speak up. And if we see a situation where, parents is, probably ashamed or maybe feel judged, maybe, in the church or in your community or in your family, encourage them. There are times where you think, okay, this parent is, they're their own worst enemy or the child worst enemy, want to judge them. Please, let's don't judge them, because they themselves, you don't know what they've been through within that relationship and in the family network. You don't know the shame. You don't know what others are saying. You don't know what the community is, saying to them, because they, generally it seems like the mother is the one that's responsible for birthing a child with disability, and the husbands or the men do hands off completely, like, they didn't even, contribute to the, the production, the creation of this child. But what I'm saying is, let's encourage these parents. Let's continually speak with them. Let's continually raise awareness. Let's continually show love and support as best as we can. Meet to these parents and say, look, is there to help you? I want to support you. I myself am going through this situation, or I'm not going through the situation, but I understand what you're going through. So please, let me help. So, with that kind of attitude where we reach out, then it's possible that they will open up, you see, and receive that support. But let's don't come for the way of judgmental, attitude and what's not. So them neglecting the children, mainly it's not their fault. It's lack of knowledge, lack of awareness, and the shame and the stigma that's attached to it. So let's continue to talk about it. Let's continue to raise the subject as far as we can, wherever we go, and encourage the parents, raise awareness, give them leaflets, show them websites or something. If they can't read, just show easy read. We can print easy read for them, or virtual or visual pictures or something. Tell them that this is prevalent out there. They are not isolated, and their case is just not the only case. There are many, many out there, and they should not be ashamed. So let them know that they are not responsible for the child's disability, but they can, you know, add to that child's well-being and fulfilled life if they have the right knowledge and support. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much. You know, I think your overall summary is basically seek help out there. It is out there, and other people reach out to people around you. Always try to make them understand that they're not on their own and make them feel comfortable. Thank you so, so much for that. Was a mouthful. That was a lot of advice and support you've put out there. We will try to probably narrate it back onto Facebook because there are a lot of comments that are coming into the chat room. Please feel free to give this information out. So if you have something to say, don't leave it all in the chat room so that it can benefit other people, because I'm going to have to be transferring all that to Facebook as well. But right now, and we have kept her waiting, my sincere apologies. I am going to call on Mrs. Olajumoke Otitoloju. Like I did say earlier on when we introduced her, she's doing a lot of great things out in Nigeria, specifically in Lagos, but I know that she has tentacles all across Nigeria. We also want to remind her to please, and I did speak with her before, but we do want to know what help is out there also in Lagos State, because I know that there's a ministry that that's dedicated to people living with disabilities and their policies. I actually saw a parking space for people with disabilities, and I was so impressed. It's unbelievable. So yes, please, ma'am, the floor is yours.
Okay. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, my name is Olajumoke Otitoloju. I'm the project coordinator for Yaniwura Children Care Foundation. I am actually a service provider. I have lots of children living with disabilities, especially intellectual disability. The organization promotes social inclusion and education of children with disability. And in Nigeria today, we are getting there. We are not yet there, but the awareness is there. We have lots and loads of programs for children with disability to integrate them into a social environment. Children with disability, we have a support group. And what I tell their parents is, for me, I see disability in a different way. Everyone is different. I am tall, somebody else is short, another person can walk, somebody else cannot walk. So I always tell the parents that see that ability in that child. Forget about the body structure you are seeing. Look thoroughly on the ability, on the body image of that person, and do not look on the body image of that person. Look beyond the body image of that child and try to see the ability in them. What my organization, what we do for them is, I take the children out a lot, and I call that recreational therapy. Why I do this is to make them feel comfortable in any environment they are. Yes, in Lagos State, we have Office of Disability Affairs, and I give kudos to Lagos State government in doing that. I think the office is about 13 or 14 years now, and they're championing every cause of disability in Lagos State. And through this office, we're able to do a lot of activities for children with disability, including them in every daily life. Yes, the state cannot do it all. They're getting there, and they will get there with the support of service providers like us. For part of the program we have for children with disability, I make sure that every December, there's something we call Smile of Hope. The smile of hope is to give the children, in fact, they look forward to this, whereby King Sunny Ade comes to play, dance, and interact with the children. King Sunny Ade is an international juju music musician and is well known all over the world. He sings the traditional Yoruba music, which everyone wants to hear. King Sunny Ade is, how will I put it? Is like a president. So you can imagine the president of a whole nation coming down to the level of my children and dancing with them, giving them his mic. That's part of inclusion for them. What I also do is I take them to cinemas and I make them to feel comfortable, because when they see me, they know they have seen their mom and they feel comfortable. Don't bother yourself whether somebody else is looking at you or somebody. We go to cinema, we watch films. In fact, I tell them, what film do you want to watch? Let's go to cinema. Part of the inclusion we're doing. I take them to markets. We go around the market, we walk about the market today. Before the COVID came, because COVID had lots of havoc on our movement, on our services for children with disability. We go to Alade markets. Oh yeah, shop, whatever you want, enter any shop. Sometimes you see people looking at them. Last year, November, we had a child abuse awareness. And what I did was that I made my children to do the campaign, because they are very vulnerable to being exploited, to being sexually abused, even physical, you know. And they did that awareness, child abuse awareness, within 3 local governments. I also did, I always make them feel important, because I have this as part of our logo, breaking barriers and opening every doors for them. So we interact with every other children for them to know that there are some people that are different. We are not all the same. God has not created us the same. So appreciate every child, every one around you. Then for the parents, we have our support group. And part of the thing I tell them in our support group is when you have a child with disability, it is the way you see that child that child will grow. When you see that child, you see love, you see prosperity, you see passion, you see all good things of life in that child. That's what you will see till the end with that child. But the moment you see this child, what kind of child has God given me? Oh, this child is problematic. Oh, how will I cope with this child? Oh, that is what I'm saying. So I always tell them that the real power the children need is that parental love, that emotion from parents. It makes them feel stronger. And you know, of course, parents, when you have your child growing in love, you'll be happy. You'll be happy within you. And I always encourage them. Therapy is what our children need. Do not deny them that right of therapy. They need it to survive. They need it to live to their potentials. A child that needs physiotherapy, take that child. It's not every child that needs it. A child that needs occupational, take that child. A child that needs speech or recreational. And we have some other children that are at home, that their parents are finding it difficult to bring them out. I always encourage my other parents, whenever we are having events, bring another parent along. Bring another parent along. I had a program December 5th last year, and the program is easing out mental tension in parents of children with disability. And this program, I saw lots of things my parents were going through. That lots of them are going through emotional stressor, physical stressor, social stressors that they cannot interact with people outside. So what I did then was I told them, bring people, be in your best way. what drinks do you like most to drink? Just send it to me. Because of the disability of their children, we have lots and lots of single parents. What I did before that time was I asked them to give me the phone numbers of their husbands, even those that I have left. The ones that I have left, I spoke with them and encouraged them, telling them the disability in their child does not affect them. It does not make them less human being. They can live to their potentials if you support that child. We have people with intellectual disability, let me, because I work more with them, that are married. I have lots of them that are university. I have them in secondary school. And I always use those ones to encourage lots of parents that if you are seeing that disability in them, that child will not move anywhere. But don't see that disability in them. See that ability, look through what that child can be and help that child. And again, they suffer a lot of financial stressor. We support them financially. We support them through buying of drugs, medical, we give them medical attentions when they need, because you hear, I've not taken my child for therapy for the past 3 months because I do not have money. Now what we are planning to do is to start a therapy center, a multidimensional therapy center for these children, and also a counseling unit for their parents. The multidimensional will involve nutritionists, we involve speech, occupational, recreational, physio, even music, art, and crafts. Because it is not all our children that function very well in academics. So we're putting them through other skills to bring out in them. I'll give you an example. A mother called me some time ago and said that my daughter is out of school because she cannot cope. And I said, okay, your daughter is out of school. What interest did you see in that child? Does she like singing? Does she like listening to music? Look for that ability in that child and build it up for her. And she just said, yes, ma. She likes to sing. I said, good. Put her in a musical school. We have few of them in Lagos. And she said there's one close to her house. Take her there. I had event at Smile of Hope December last year. She brought the girl and she said the girl has never left a carer. But that day when she saw all other children, she was happy. She came on stage, she sang for us. And through our awareness campaign, we are enlightening parents that having these children is not the end of the world. They can be who you want them to be, but you must help them. You must help them. Now, we are into another section with these children, which is sexuality. On Friday, we're going to have, in commemoration of our International Women's Day, we're going to talk to the parents on sex education. And I've asked the parents to bring in the girls that are above 18 years so that we'll talk to the parents on ways of teaching them sex education that they will understand. And also the young mothers now that have little children with disability, we're also going to tell them the models, the ways of teaching them sex education indirectly, which is part of occupational therapy. Say, for instance, you want to give your child a bath, try to lock the door So that child will know when it's bathing time is a private place, you need to lock the door. When you're dealing, probably you have a little boy and the boy wants to pee. I know a lot of parents do this so that the pee does not stain their trousers. For me, they remove the whole trouser and they allow the child to pee. For me, I always tell my parents that no, you don't need to remove the trouser to the knee. Just zip them a little bit and let them bring out their pennies and pee. Because we found out over a period of time that some of these perpetrators told us that they know a child that is vulnerable. Because when they see a child that is pulling his pants down to the knee, they know that child is vulnerable. And also, we're also going to talk to them on various places where that child can have that private time to him or herself in terms of expressing sexual emotions. So many things pertaining to sexual education that we are going to talk to parents to start teaching the children. Though it's part of occupational therapy, but most parents do not go through, they do not allow their children to go through occupational therapy. Why? Because it is too expensive in Nigeria. Yes, taking care of children with special needs in Nigeria is very expensive. The stigmatization is there, the discrimination is there, because we have not really accepted them into the society. But I still do my campaign. I do it in Yoruba, I do it in English, I go on radio, I go on TV to enlighten people that disability is not a disease. It is not communicable. Somebody else cannot catch it. It is just the way God created them in their own way. So accept them. Do not discriminate on them. For children with a cerebral palsy, our cultural belief, which I'm still, and I know other organizations that are service provider providing for children with disabilities, they believe culturally that children, because of their mobility issue, the way they jerk up and down and the way the neck is not stable, they say they are children from snake kingdom. So with that, we are trying to help out to create that awareness in that line, that the neck that is moving back, that is not controlled, it has nothing to do with being from snake kingdom or any of that nature. It is just that the neck is not stable, and with time, with massaging, with various physiotherapy for the neck will be stable with time. So for me, I tend to tell all parents to accept their child and also create that awareness that we need empathy, not sympathy. Lots of parents make this mistake. They believe when they have a child with disability, it is time for them to start making money. I'll give you an example today, just today. There's a woman, my office is in Ikeja, and I saw this woman. She's from the police part of the border town, Cotonou, let me put Badagry area. And she was carrying a child with cerebral palsy, backing her and begging for money on the roadside. I now told her, I parked somewhere, I called her. I gave her money to take, because it's not far from my office. I gave her money to take a vehicle to my office, and she actually came. And while I was driving in front of the vehicle, because I cannot just put her in my car like that. And when I got to my office, she was speaking in Badagry, which I couldn't understand. I remember my mechanic is from that area. So I called my mechanic and I put the woman on speaker and asked her, why is she begging for money with this child? And she told me because she doesn't have money to take care of that child. And I said, If I give you wheelchair, because it's part of the service we provide, we support with mobility equipment a lot. If I give you a wheelchair, will you, and I support you every month, you collect some little stipend and see how we can empower you in your business, because she said she was selling fish and she has used all the money to take care of the child. And I said, okay, I'll give you 10,000 naira. Here is my card. Call me, because she said she's the grandmother of that child. Let me speak with the mother and see how we can support you and that child. And ma'am, I never saw them again. And today I was coming from Egbeda. I saw her backing that child and begging for money again. The issue is she left Ikeja where I could see her and went to another environment where I will not see her, where she can continue begging. So with this idea, I don't support her parents begging for money to support our children. I call them my children. I don't agree. Most parents, they do this. And we keep creating that awareness. Part of the program we are going to have this year, we had last year, but we are going to, modify it now. That we are going to have a best mother of the year. And that best mother of the year will be your eloquency, how you, the method you have been using to take care of your child, to nurture your child, the knowledge you know. And the best mother of the year will be like, will work with us, campaigning, creating the awareness for other mothers in all other local governments. Bring out your children. They are not deities. Don't beg, don't use them to beg for money. They are not deities. They are just human beings the way God has created you, has created them. And another issue we have with our parents is most of them feel guilty, emotional stress they also go through. That are they the cause of their child disability? Is it that somebody has charmed them or caused them for them to have this child? Is it that somebody, they abuse somebody? You know what I mean with our African theory that these children, they are abominations, So it's part of what we do, creating the awareness that no, it has nothing to do with you being, whether you are being caused or this or that. It is just a health issue that sometimes it occurs before birth. Sometimes it occurs during birth. Sometimes it occurs after birth when they are about 1, 2, 3, you start noticing them. So it's got nothing to do with you doing anything that is abomination or issues like that. With African mentality, we're still trying to erase that. And I thank God, I thank God we're getting there now, because for our own group, each day I get new parents. I get parents that are getting that awareness. Mommy, I don't know what to do. Where do I go to? How old is your child now? Now start therapy. Now start this. Now go to this place. Now go to that place. I'm not a medical doctor, but I can refer you. You come back to me. We have files for them, and we follow up on them. To the extent the little I know on occupational therapy, I tell them. A parent brought a child to me, and she said the child cannot feed herself. The child cannot do anything. In my office, I have lots of, because I do recreational activities for them. We have days that they hang out with me. We play all kinds of games. We do so many things with them. So I have lots of activity toys for them. So I just went to the store. I brought out a ball and I gave the child. And the child was holding the ball. The mother was surprised. The child gripped the ball. I said, see, you don't play with this child. You need to play with them. Just don't dump them. Just don't dump them and think that, oh, you have given them food. You have given them drink. No, you play with them. You talk to them like every other child. You train them like every other child. Whatever you do to your children that are not disabled, you do to them. For me, what I say is, I don't see other people. I say children that are disabled and children that are not disabled. I don't see my children as other people. Neither do I see those that are not disabled as other people. I just say children that are disabled and those that are not disabled, which makes them understand that everybody are different in our own unique ways. So I gave the child the ball was holding, the child was playing with the ball. In fact, the mother was happy. I said, little things like this go a long way. How do you feed this child? The child cannot feed you. I said, this child I'm seeing, she can hold paper and she can hold spoon herself. I went into my kitchenette. I brought out water, cup, and spoon. And now held the child's hand with the spoon, dip it in the water, and slowly put it in the child's mouth. And it went through. I said, look, if you do this for like a month, the child will be able to feed herself. It is sometimes our parents, we are the first doctors, nurses, physio, speech therapists, occupational therapists that the child will know. You will be the first, because all those medical personnel, they will just do theirs, and the rest is for you to continue. You talk to your child, talk to them as you talk to every other child. They hear you. They know when you're angry. They know when you're happy. But sometimes when you don't talk to them, they just look at you. I tell them what you are telling other child. Train them the way you are training those that are not disabled. Those that are living in one room.
There, Madam Olajumoke, and the reason being, I would love to be able to take some.
Oh, you've just muted yourself.
I'm sorry. I'd like to interject, and that's because I know there will be some people that would want to ask some questions around what you've been talking about this evening, and based on where you are based. So please, if there is anybody that is has anything to ask, like we said, try not to personalize it, but please feel free, based on what you've heard this evening, if there are any questions you would like to ask. And please remember that obviously the information being relayed is about Nigeria. So let's be clear. But even though the disability we are covering it's on both sides of the globe. So if there's anybody that has a question, please raise your hand.
I have a question from Facebook.
Okay, you go ahead.
Please. And it is Alice, and she's saying that what is Nigerian government doing about these situations when parents are financially helpless?
Yeah.
Okay. I knew that was coming.
Okay, do you want me to answer you all?
Please, yes.
Yes, please, yes.
Okay. In what the government is doing, I want to say the Lagos State Office of Disability Affairs and the state government, they're doing a lot. The Lagos State government made a budget of 500 million for the disability world cluster in Lagos State. That's for the Ministry of Disability Affairs. And part of it, they earmark certain amount of money to support parents, to empower them. And also, these parents also are under Lagos State Ministry of Women's Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. There are lots of vocational skills that they have trained these parents and have also supported with the equipment of various skills they have learned. And this they do, I think, quarterly, every three or four months. They do this for parents. And of course, we have lots of NGOs, service providers that support financially, just like what I have said. During the COVID era, I know my organization, and I know a lot of other organizations supported with foodstuff, palliative, and also cash. And I know the state government also supported. It didn't go around initially, but when we complained, they gave out again. So the state supports, NGO supports, and you know, it can never be enough. It can never be enough. But within the scope, a lot of people and parents of children with disability, they benefit a lot, because we have a group which is JONAPID. JONAPID is Association of People with Disability. And when the state wants to relate with any of these disability clusters, they go through JONAPID, and they also go through service providers like us, because it is not every people living with disability or parents of people living with disability are members of JONAPID. There are some that are in care of some other service providers. So the state government supports them.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Yemi.
Oh no, just echoing.
Okay.
I just wanted to really just say that she's doing a phenomenal work. I'm sure she can go on and on about everything that they're doing out there, but I'm one very impressed lady. So well done, ma. God bless you.
Thank
Okay,
you,
and
ma. Thank you, ma.
one question I would like to ask, and that is for the families who you know, are going through this, is what the accessibility to these funds that you talk about. What is the accessibility process? So is there a process? How easy is it? How many people know about it, and how can they find out about it?
Okay, like I said earlier, the process is very easy. And like I told you, we have associations of people with disabilities. So we have association for the deaf, association for the blind, association for the hearing impairment, association for leprosy, albino, all cluster of disabilities, they all have their associations, and they form JONAPID. So when government wants to give anything, the government will ask the association of let's say for the blind, how many people in your cluster will need our support? It's not everybody that needs that financial support. I want you to know that. And those that are really crucial, that really need that support, how many members do you need? And let's say the blind will bring 100, the deaf will bring 100. They know the associations. The government does not know them all, but they know themselves, because these associations are also divided into local governments. And the local governments are also broken down into another smaller groups. So it reaches to the ordinary man on the street. And when they bring all the numbers of people that need this financial assistance, the government gives them forms. And in the forms, they fill out their data. And they all have disability card numbers. The state opened this, and we are even expecting more. The more people we bring, LASODA is open to every disability person. Apart from the associations, like I said, it is not every disability person that is in any of this association. So those that are not even a member of any of this association, LASODA office is opened for them to come in, register their name as a person living with disability, their type of disability. So in the forms that the government will give you, they will fill in their bank details, they'll fill in their address, they'll fill in the type of disability, and the money is disbursed straight to their bank account.
Okay. I think,
and
sorry.
Don't forget I said that they have disability numbers. They all have that disability card.
Yes. That was something I just wanted to pick out. And I know that they do have disability numbers. My issue, and I think it's something that resonates in all areas of Nigeria and probably even Africa, is data. You know, when you were talking about this this lady that you saw at Ikeja first, and then you saw her somewhere else today. If we have a registration of everyone with disabilities, then it'd be easier for you to have, gone on that register and sort of traced her to her home or somewhere where, is where she wakes up and she sleeps every day. And it is a big issue for us at SDGF, Saffron Social Development Global Foundation in Nigeria. It is a major focus for this year. It's our theme, only also because the UN had it as their data in the big world. So we are really looking at encouraging a lot of data and registrations so we can follow up on people. And it's not about monitoring them, it's about being able to offer support and help to them. I know an example is with our systems in the UK, and do you know what? And I keep saying, when we keep coming back to what we're doing, it's taking us 50 years plus and much more to get us where we are around safeguarding and child protection. But I remember when you would have a family with a child protection, and I'm using child protection because that was before the safeguarding agenda came into play. When you have a family with a child protection issue, say you have a child protection issue in Lewisham, and like you said, with this lady, you'd identified this is an issue, you then start to address it. They would pack up, and the next time they're in Harrow, and you couldn't follow up. And it was an issue that we decided to address, and it was data. So every child is on a central registry. So if you like, go from Kent to God knows where, you are flagged up, and instantly we're able to transfer files directly to wherever you are. So we do not lose any child. And I am looking forward to the day when we will start to implement these things in Nigeria. But I am still saying that there's a lot of good work going. I'll be the first to advocate for that. So well done, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay.
For the data, for the
Sorry,
data, we're getting there, like I told you. As of 10 years ago, even as of 5 years ago, where we are today, we can say it's another milestone.
Yes.
And I know by in the next another 5 years, we would have gotten to another higher milestone in terms of welfare and inclusion of people with disability in our environment.
Yes, absolutely. Great.
Look, I'm just going to take a question from the chat before we pass on to, I think you said Auntie Grace had wanted to say something. Yeah. We have 36, this is from Idowu Bello. We have 36 states in Nigeria. Lagos State is just one out of all. How will these opportunities go round Nigeria?
Wow. Yes, this opportunity can go around Nigeria. 2019, I went to Oyo State, that is Ibadan, and visiting the disability homes there is really nothing to talk about. And I contacted the First Lady of that state to work together. Even the home that is meant for the state is not really something to talk about. But I know with Lagos State as a modeling state for all the states, I'm still trying out. I've adopted a home in Ibadan that we are working together with, and we have registered with the ministry there. And with the work we are doing in Lagos State, if we start that in Ibadan, I know the state will want to work with us and emulate what we're doing. And likewise, other homes, with taking other homes for children with disability, will want to shadow what we're doing and improve in the well-being of children with disability. I know we will get there.
Okay, and are you focusing on just the towns? Because my mind is, okay, if you've gone from Lagos to Ibadan, that's beautiful. And what happens to those children or people with disabilities who are in villages, you know, what happens to them who probably don't have access to the internet? They can't drive to get to where you are. How are they being catered for?
In Lagos or in Ibadan?
I'm talking of, well, because you said you've got Lagos and then you've adopted a house in
Ibadan, where the home we are in Ibadan is not in the city, is in outskirts of Ibadan.
Right.
It's a border town, Ibadan and Oyo State and Osun State. It's a border town.
Right.
Why we adopted that state is we want to use that state as a model. Then from there we create that awareness and spread out.
Okay.
That's what we want to do. So it's the state, from that state, at least I know with our intervention, we have more children going to that home now. We have more children that have been admitted in that home with our intervention. And I'm sure we are going to stretch further to other areas, but we must have a stepping stone first. So we chose to use a short testimony home. That is our model for other homes, and they bring in some other children.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, we spread the awareness on disability. And of course, with our intervention, lots of homes will be closed because they are not up to standard at all in welfare of children. It's even not with this, but we will get them.
Yeah, I'm sure. And, you know, thank you so much, you know, for all you do, because it's obviously not an easy job. And can you please, just for those who possibly are on here, who are possibly looking to start up what you're doing or have an interest, could you give us an idea on what do you feel about partnerships and collaborations? Because, you know, in this field, what we do, we know that no man is an island. You can't exist alone. And in order to get things done, you know, two heads have always been better than one.
Yes.
From your
we do lots of
Go ahead.
Do lots of partnership. Auntie Grace, are you hearing me? I met you on one of a Zoom meeting together, and I was so passionate. I was so impressed seeing your passion in taking care of children with disability. I got your details. In other words, they will see how we can work together to support our children with disabilities. Of course, we partner with other NGOs. We have another NGO called CEDA. CEDA is for differently able, because like I said, it's not all our children that are good in academics. So those that are now good in academics, we involve them in sporting activities. Yes. So we collaborate with CEDA, and for what we do, we make sure that every week there's activities for those children to keep them busy and to bring out that ability in them. For Friday, which is next tomorrow, we're having a program for the parents of children with intellectual disability. On Saturday, we are having a sport event, a sport training in badminton and table tennis. For these children, we are collaborating with CEDA at the Slim Balogun Stadium. So we with those from the Hearing Impaired with the Deaf Association. We collaborate with the Physical Disability Association. We collaborate with those with hydrocephalus. We work together. For us in Lagos, we work together and we do things together to bring out the best, all for the sake of the child. Even with Child Protection Network, because I'm the welfare officer of Lagos State Child Protection Network, we are also bringing out things, having ideas on how to work with these children, on how to protect themselves from being abused. So we collaborate with all other stakeholders, even LASODA itself. We collaborate with LASODA.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And as you know, we're still on. Before I come to you, Auntie Vicky, I just want you to know we're still on for the whole of March. So we would really, really, really appreciate your presence, even if it's one more session, because the information that you're bringing it's awesome. And thank you for dashing through traffic to get to us this evening. We appreciate that so much. And please feel free to bring on your partners. You know, like we've always said, you know, if we all come together, we have a saying with Saffron, #TogetherWeCan. And it's only when we come together that we're going to make a success. Auntie Vicky, would you like to say something? You can unmute yourself and have the floor.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And what I'd like to say, I appreciate what that woman is doing. This is Otitoloju. Well done, fantastic work you're doing in Nigeria. And I've been working in Nigeria for the past 8 years with regards to disability. And I know one thing I notice about Nigeria as a whole is the fact that there is a kind of political will, because the law has been passed, but a lot still needs to be done. We still have so many challenges. Lagos State is just one part of Nigeria. We have 36 states in Nigeria, and Lagos State is just one part. Lagos State is trying in a way, but what I would like to say is that they've used NGOs as social workers, which I will say there is no structure on where when somebody needs help, where they have to go to. None of these people from poor socioeconomic background or from the grassroots are really aware of where to go to. So there is a form of what I will say a systemic neglect in Nigeria. There's a kind of, I mean, for sure, there is a kind of a systemic neglect in Nigeria, which is a form of abuse on those parents, on those children. And then secondly, now they've said they've signed the law. How have they been able to sensitize other people? And another thing is that what is the role of the local government? I will use an example of the palliatives. Almost just 3,000. They have, according to my team in Nigeria, they said I have people in Lasoda, which is a kind of a body that oversees all the people that has to do with disability in Nigeria. So what does Nigeria understand about the concept of disability? You understand? So a lot of neglect some people are still disadvantaged in area of seeking services, seeking support, a lot of them. And you can understand why that woman went from somewhere, from Ikeja, even though the organization was ready to support her, you understand, with 10,000 initially, that's every month. But some people, even when you give them freezer, the adults, because they've internalized disability for a long time, even when you give them machine, or I've been in a conference where somebody was given a freezer to be selling bottled drinks and cold drinks and whatever. Immediately the person is selling it to somebody else, sending it to somebody to get the money, because they're only concerned with now, what am I going to eat? So poverty, mental health, associated mental health behavior are intertwined with disability. These people, according to WHO, they are the poorest of the poor. So somebody that want to eat today, if using the children to collect 10 naira, 20 naira, in the whole day he can collect, he needs to survive. So what is the government doing to make sure that these children are surviving? And most NGOs, you understand, they are trying to do what the government is doing, but the government is not actually providing that support. There is no social worker in those local authorities. There is no social worker. The chairman of local authorities, they don't even know what to do. The local authority is the third governance between the third tier of governance, between the government, between the governor and the people. What are they doing? How are they using integrated services? You understand? So a lot needs to be done. Even the UNAPID, that is the association of whatever, there is so much politics there. You understand? So much politics about, because most of the evil people running those things, they've internalized disability. All they want to do is to collect money and be able to survive, because they don't know whether they will be able to get that opportunity the next day. So even when the woman mentioned about abuse, that don't whatever, what are the safeguarding policies? In every, or are they aware of safeguarding issues? How can you, what are the signs you see when your children is being abused? Some of them cannot talk. How do you understand the behavior of those children? So we need to get experts to come and tell us what we need to do. Those are the, so a lot of parents don't even know. Some children, when they start menstruation, they will stop them from school because the schools don't know how to handle a child that is at reach puberty. So the child is not going to school. Some of them, there are so many misdiagnoses. So they are not getting that help. So there is no sensitization, there is no education. Even when they wrote in their laws, they said free health. If you go to any local hospitals in Nigeria, ask them that they said the law says free health, they will send you out. So they will send you out. So people are really suffering. Let's call a spade a spade. And how much can each organization, how much can we do to support? If the government is not actually flagging it out a lot, raising our awareness, educating parents that, you know what, I can only do as the CEO, I can only do what I can do. You understand? But we need a lot of sensitization. We need a lot of implementation. We need a lot of support services. Somebody living in Ikeja local government must not go to Lekki to access support. You understand? So what about the digital, where they can now pull resources together and make sure that people living in, even when children, there was one incident where the child of one parent has epilepsy. She took the child to the hospital in the local government in that area, and they said, they don't do this here, go to another hospital. There is no capacity building. A lot is missing. Let's call a spade a spade. A lot is missing. There's so much social gaps. Even the palliatives. We did a conference. We did a conference on social protection last year, May, first week in May. Did you realize the social register missed Ogun State government? People that are, because the governor did not sign, the governor at that time did not sign what he was supposed to sign. So Ogun State was not included in the social register. And the total number of people with, it's not even people, it's not only people with a disability. They are now putting one cap to fit all. You understand? We have almost 900, not close to million. When people with disability in Nigeria are close to 30 million, according to World Disability Reports. So we cannot. We are not even crawling. We've not even started. Thank God
thank you.
And thank God the Minister for Humanitarian Affairs flag it up. There is a kind of a little political will, but more still needs to be done. We cannot be hiding under, let's get professionals involved. So many schools, so many deaf schools, they're being abused. So many children have been abused. And the school, they don't even cannot see the sign. When the child, they don't understand the sign that can say, okay, now that can be. Then in the hospitals, how do they disclose a child that has disability? They will say, go, all is well in Jesus' name. Where are the services? People, there are no lack of services, lack of information in the language they understand. A lot of things are really, and that's why some parents, they abuse those children, they lock them in the house. There is no where they can get respite. A lot are missing, and they have to put income. Most marriages are breaking down because the highest cause of this divorce is when you have a disability or you as a woman acquire disability. Brilliant. You're on your own as a woman.
So much. Thank you so much.
Can I chip in, please?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes. Auntie Grace, you said it all. But for us in Nigeria now, what we are clamoring for is that change. Yes. And that change, we are going to get there.
Yes.
Where I want us to not to compare Nigeria with developed world. We are just trying now to imbibe that culture and changing our mindsets on disability. The rate of those that are educated in Nigeria is nothing compared to those that are not educated. And those that are not educated are the ones that are having these children. And what we are doing, and what most other NGOs and what the state is doing now, is to create that awareness. I am not talking for the states, because my job is to look through where the state is not doing their best, will support them and show them. And so far, they have been following what we have said. They have, for years and years and years, like I said, 5, 10 years ago, disability is nothing to write home about in Lagos State, where I am based. But for now, we are getting there. We have a town hall meetings with the governor. December 30th, the governor had, in fact, we said it was a breakfast he had with disability clusters and asked us what we want. And part of what they want is everything we ask for, because we want to change the scenario. We want the world to see that we care for people with disability. We also want those that are not aware that children with disability are like every other child. Stop hiding them. Stop keeping them in the house. Bring them out. So what the government is doing is clusters. You know them better. The government does not know everybody with disability. We're just keeping, in fact, we are just starting keeping the data from last year, because this COVID-19 really showed a lot of where we are lacking and where we need to step up. We requested the state for early intervention center. The state asked us, what and what do they need? And we told them, I personally spoke with the governor. Oga, we need early intervention for our children. Because when these children are delivered, sometimes the doctors notice the disability in them, sometimes not until they're about a year or two. But when we have the early intervention centers, when these children are delivered and the doctor notices the disability in them, they refer them straight to early intervention center. And as we are talking now, we have gotten a site for the early intervention center. We've gotten one, which is going to be a model at Idiaraba. I am attesting to that because I followed it thoroughly with the governor and with the commissioner. Yes, I know there's a lot to do in Nigeria, but I also want us to have it in mind that it's a gradual process. We will get there. And the rate at which children with disability are coming out now, or people with disability are coming out now and are being listened to, it's far better than last year or 2 years ago. And I know we are going to get there. I know there are a lot of lapses. And the reason for this is because we do not know about disability. But now that awareness is coming up. I give you an example. I know a little bit about sex education on how to teach parents of children with intellectual disability and the modes and method that can use to have a one-on-one interaction of a child with intellectual disability about his or her sexuality. I called the Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Health, because I just want to hear from their own side that can I have someone from the family planning in your end, so we could talk about birth control, we could talk about consent and all other. And you know what I'm told? That they don't have it. They don't have anybody that have a technical knowledge of how to talk to people with intellectual disability. And I was, you know, my mind was wide open. And you know what the woman said? She said, Madam, I'm ready to learn. And that's where we are, because we are just getting to accept them into the society. With the law that was signed in 2019, in that law, we have said that all institutions, both private and corporate organizations, must have the environmental access for people with disability. And some of them, they have started changing the access. They have started changing the access. So what I'm trying to say is that it is not that they do not want to do it, it's because they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So when you, now that people like us are coming on board, telling them this is what we want, this is how you can go about it, this is what we think is right, they are stepping in bit by bit.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. You know, it's nice to hear that, you know, and I'm going to throw this out there. For those of us in the UK, and when you look at our underground tube station, okay, not every underground tube station has access for disabled people. I'm just going to throw that out there. And the reason I'm saying this is, if you look at Nigeria, Africa 30 years ago, and you look at it today, we've come a long way. We have. Are we there yet? No, we're not. But in 2021, there are some tube stations who till today, and I am a healthcare worker, there are some places I cannot take my service users to because environmentally, they have not been structured to allow my service users to have a normal way of life. So let's get it real. So you see, it's on both sides. So I want to say thank you to both of our guests today, because we've run out of time, but it's been amazing. We are marching through March, and we have dedicated the whole of March to abilities and disabilities. Please, 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 we do ask if you, I know you're coming back, because once we get you in Saffron, we don't let you go. That's just one thing you need to understand. It's been awesome. All the conversations have been very engaging. I love the passion from everybody. And we do ask that talk to everybody so that the next session we will be having is going to be on the 10th of March. We'll be here the same time. Please, if you have any NGOs, if you have any organizations, it is only when we come together that we can make a difference. We need to be the change we want to see. And I you know what I love? I love the fact that we all think it can be done, because it can be done. Okay. So please, we will be back, and what we'll be doing on the 10th, we will be looking at the challenges. Yes. So please, 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 we will be back here on the 10th. Parents living and caring with disability, overcoming short and long-term challenges. That will be our theme for then. So I want to first of all recognize a few people in the house, my darling sister and one of our directors, Adebola Ahmed. She's always hiding behind the camera, but she's here, and I know she has been listening in. So thank you, sis, for coming in all the way from Nigeria as well. Jacqueline, Jackie, how are you? I can see you've been jumping in and out because of the network. So thank you, my darling sis. Thank you for coming on. It's nice to see you. And Auntie Vicky Nwosu is on. I believe she's still in the house. Yes, she is. Good evening, Auntie Vicky. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
Thank you so much
for inviting me.
This is your home.
Family.
This is your home. And we do really want to say a special thank you to our two guests, Auntie Grace Alexander and Madam Olajumoke Otitolojo. I hope I've said your name
Hey.
correct, because I'm Igbo and I'm learning. I am learning. But thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure, and we do hope to have you back on. Thank you to everybody who's participated this evening. Those of you who have dropped comments in the chat, thank you so much. You've made it very exciting. And also thank you to our Facebook audience. And you guys have always very, very interactive. It's been informative. It's been amazing. Please, 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 everything we've heard today, let's take it out into our communities. Awareness, awareness, awareness. Yeah. They have a right to life. So the fact that you have a disability doesn't make you any more special, any more different. They have a right to life. So please, let's remember that. And we shall hope to see you back here on the 10th, same time. For us is 6 to 8. And for Nigeria, it's 7 to 9 because of the time difference. So I just have to say, stay safe and have a good evening, everybody. And it's been amazing as always. Have a good night.
Okay. Have a good night, everyone. God bless. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.